Hi, everyone. Happy, what is it, Wednesday?
Yes.
It's Wednesday.
It's
Happy
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Woohoo!
We are a day late coming live, but we have a really good reason. We are not in our normal places and we're actually together, like in
Yes,
3D
in
right here.
3D.
And that's because we're here in Colorado Springs, actually. We're in the Sand Creek Zone District and working with all the teachers, K through 12th grade, which has just been a truly incredible week. And we're not done. So just keeps coming. And we know it's kind of the end of summer. It's last days, which is sad to say, but summer is coming to an end. It's back to school time. So we thought we'd take the theme of flip-flops today and talk about how we want to see our students writing flip this year and not flop.
Yes, because too often our students flop when they chase after length instead of clarity. We all know they say, how long does this have to be? Because that's their first concern. But we're going to start off this school year with a totally different mindset. We are going to talk short and strong and how really less can be more.
Yes, exactly. One of our favorite things to say in writing with design is that length does not equal quality. We don't want students to equate the number of sentences to mean that they are a better writer or a stronger writer than someone who just writes a few.
Yes. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm Amber. I'm the founder of Writing with Design, and today we're focusing on ways to get the school year started with a focus on quality over length.
Yes, we're just a little bit
It's been
tired.
a long day of training.
It's been a long
okay?
day.
Can we just say
Yes,
that?
yes. And I'm Tabitha, middle school teacher and curriculum engagement specialist. And whether you teach first grade or AP English, we believe that every student should start with short writings. And that can just be like 1 to 2 sentences, clear, intentional, and most of all, powerful.
Yeah. You know, it's not pedantic to
It's
start
not,
with
I almost
short short writing. It's actually really important. We really don't want students to think that more words are going to equal better grades, because then they ramble and they restate and they repeat themselves over and over and still really miss the point.
And 1 to 2 sentence writing can still be valuable even at the highest level of writing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, am I skipping over what you need to say?
No, I don't think so.
What I want to talk to you about next is just about a way to think about how to assign length, because as Tabitha mentioned, that is like the number one question that students ask is, how long does it have to be, right? And we really encourage teachers to change their thinking. We've been working with secondary teachers yesterday and today, and in all of those sessions, we talked about how you really don't need to start with essay level or even paragraph level writing. And that applies to elementary school too. We want teachers to think about, actually kind of like name that tune, like what's the least amount of sentences that our students can write to answer the question, or can I challenge my students to write it in 2 sentences instead of 4? So we have a couple really fun clips that we want to share with you from actually Name That Tune, that's going to just kind of highlight what we're talking about here with getting really short writings going for students. So we're going to skip over to this one, I think, and hopefully it will. No, I don't think it's still going to do what I want it to do. Operator error here. Okay, so one more second here. I'm going to go back over here. I've had trouble with this, and we're just going to go screen share. Let's try this, and let's see if this is the one we want.
We're about to find out.
Okay. This is the second one. Hang tight. Let's go back. We'll go back to that one in a second, everyone. Hold on one more second. Let's do one more. This is where we need to just fast forward. But here we go. Replace with screen share and
Second one.
Okay. Here we go. All right. First clip. Here we go. All right. So that was really lucky, right? He obviously knew from the clue what it was. So, sometimes that happens, right? That students can, or teachers can just say, hey, I just want it in one sentence. We know this so well. We want a really short, just to the point writing. And that's really quite powerful for students to do. So I love that one because he was so confident. He was like, look, I know this. I just need one note. Just give me that one sentence, teach, and let me show you that I know everything that you're wanting me to know. So we really want students to have that kind of confidence and that kind of sense of like, I don't need a whole paragraph. I don't need a whole essay. I can put it all into one sentence. But sometimes that isn't exactly how it happens. So our second clip that we're going to show will really talk through or showcase kind of in name that tune ways, kind of how teachers and students might kind of go back and forth, like what length actually makes sense for the writing that I want to do. So now it's the top one, right? Or the only one that's available. Look at it. Okay, here we go in our second clip.
Gordon MacRae was in quite a state after he cast a spell on movie audiences with this Rodgers and Hammerstein classic. John, start the bidding.
Rodgers and Hammerstein. I can name that tune in 5 notes.
I can name it in 4.
I can name it in 3.
I can name it. Or can I? I can name it in 2.
Name that tune.
All right. Gordon MacRae was in quite a state after he cast a spell on movie audiences with this Rodgers and Hammerstein classic. Here are your 2 notes.
Oklahoma!
Did you think it was going to be that? Gordon MacRae.
Yeah. So, there we are, nice and big. So that's really getting at kind of the heart of what we want to see students do with assigning prompts and what teachers do with assigning prompts and deciding length, is that it's kind of this back and forth. Like, can I do it in 7? Can I do it in 5? Can I do it in 3 sentences? And really get students to focus on that art of brevity. Like, can they say it in less sentences and really pack more into them rather than sentence after sentence after sentence, because we just don't want so much fluff.
Yeah.
So,
and when they're answering a prompt in one sentence, they are choosing like very powerful, very specific words instead of just filling up a page. Because that's the thing, when they're focused on length, they're not really focused on what they're writing. They're just trying to fill up the page with words. And, it's a muscle. Writing short equals writing clear. And once they master that, they can totally grow it. They have the structure and the means to keep moving forward.
yeah, exactly. So I'm operator error here yet again. Where did it go? Our
I have no
presentation.
idea. It's been a day. It's been a day.
Promise I know what I'm doing here. I just can't operate.
I think you replaced it when you played the video.
Did I? I bet I did. Let's see.
What's going on with this?
Oh, here we go. I'm on the right track. 10 seconds here. We'll have it back. Here we go. Look
There
at me.
we go.
Look at me. Look at me go.
Now
Wow.
you just need to get to the...
Let's get to where we were. Let's go to, here we go. So what we wanted to showcase was actually writings that we've done with science and social studies teachers today, secondary science and social studies teachers. These are flop sentences. These are the writings that we don't want to see students do, just even at the sentence level, right? And flops can be all the way at this point or much larger, right? At the paragraph and essay level. A flop writing is just fluff, right? Or very generic general writing like this one, like the animal uses its body to defend. Okay, well, that can apply to a porcupine, but it could also apply to a lot of other animals too. And what we walked teachers through was a whole series of ways of kind of breaking down the parts of that sentence. So we've got animal and we've got uses its body to defend as the 2 parts of the sentence that that teachers looked at. What are other ways to say it? So you can see we talked about animals could be prickly porcupines, or another way to reference those porcupines is that they're quilled rodents, right? And then as we look at using its body to defend, what does that mean? How did they do that? So we tasked teachers with getting more specific, and Tabitha had come up with some of the animals, and it was the Malaysian
exploding ant, which sacrifices itself to defend others.
Yeah. So did we have that as a slide? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Nope, we went to.
But what's really cool
yeah.
when you're looking at this is, like, obviously we know that picture is a porcupine, but we're encouraging students to, what is another word for porcupine? Well, it's classified as a rodent, right? So we know, like, yeah, we know what's in the picture. But when we're, using this framework, the kids are being encouraged to look outside of the obvious.
Yeah.
And find those really strong words that are going to pack a powerful sentence.
Yes. So we've got the sentence broken down in quadrants 1 and 2. And all this is just indicating is like a sheet of paper that we have students fold into 4 different sections. So it's an easy thing you can do in your classroom. You just need a blank sheet of paper. And then we have them take that flop sentence and start to isolate the components of it. So quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 are just breaking that sentence down. And then 3 and 4, the when and why, those are actually coming from this slide here, which has several ways that you can extend sentences. When, where, why, and how are absolutely applicable in every subject about any topic that students are studying. The other 2 on the bottom, the added conjunction, is actually one of my favorites because conjunctions get kind of just this thoughtless addition to sentences sometimes and just like one word added after it. So we have this caveat that you can't just add one more word. You have to have one of the conjunctions and at least 2 more words. And that just propels students to add more into their writing. And then similes are great. We know they're not always going to apply in science and social studies, but what's great about similes is that they help take something really hard to understand and make it accessible for a layperson or for someone who hasn't been studying the content as deeply as students have. And similes evoke a lot of creativity from students. So yes, they're figurative language, but they're not just siloed in ELA. They need to be applied and brought into other curriculum areas like science and social studies when it works, right? We're not asking for the sake of flowery language to pull it in, but when it works, it's incredible.
Well, and similes are a part of figurative language, and figurative language does not just belong in creative writing.
Amen, sister.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking of, my brain is kind of dead right now, but just thinking of so many similes to compare the way that a porcupine shoots quills,
Yep.
right? I mean, I'm sure you guys can think of one.
That's right. Send us to us.
Yeah.
We need some. We need some help. But you can see we took when and why, right? We just took those 2 extenders and we put them in here. And so teachers, think about, you could break this down as slow as one of these quadrants per day and build a sentence over the course of a week, right? Or if your students are ready for a faster pace, if they can come up with these because they know the content well, they're not having to research each of these parts, then it could go much faster. This could be done whole class. You could put this in with small groups. It could even be a round robin. That was one of the ideas from today. Like every group starts with just renaming the animal. So they have lots of different animals, and then that paper gets passed. So then students are getting a fresh new animal to look at, and then they're supposed to work on quadrant 2, pass it again. They add on the when, so that they're getting exposed to how a lot of different animals defend themselves. So lots of opportunities here, but the goal is just that we are going to really pay attention to what's happening at the sentence level with students, to show them what kind of revision and new ideas they can put into their writing. So here's a social studies one.
Yes, this is a picture of an anti-abolitionist who is at a anti-slavery rally.
I think it's an abolitionist.
What did I say?
Anti-abolitionist.
He's an abolitionist at an anti-slavery rally.
There we go.
Sorry. Yes, that was.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Yes. But our flop sentence was, citizens fought for fair treatment. Well, citizens could apply to a number of people. And so when we did this today, this was our example, but we also gave our social studies teachers examples from like the Boston Tea Party, women's suffrage, civil rights movement, and the Dakota Pipeline, so that they had an opportunity to pick their group of citizens. Mm-hmm. And, what kind of fair treatment did they fight for? How did they fight for it? And why did they fight for it? And what was really cool about this one, when Amber and I were putting this together, is we realized that the how and the why were almost interchangeable, which was a really cool way for us to learn, wow, this sentence structure is really adaptable. Mm-hmm. And it's not always the case, but it was really cool to see how if we took out the why, the how still worked. And if we took out the how, the why still worked. And when put together, we had this amazingly complex sentence, just full of power.
Yeah. And that's what the circled bubbles are showing, is we had teachers kind of play around with like what pairs together. If I said passionate abolitionists campaigned for the promise of liberty for all by gathering peacefully to hear an anti-slavery speaker because they believe slavery violated every moral principle. Those 4 work, right? Sometimes it doesn't always flow, like Tabitha said, and sometimes you have to add more words in or rearrange parts of it. That's great. We're not nothing in writing with design is rigid, right? We're not saying you must only use the words that are in these bubbles or else. We want teachers and students to see writing as flexible and adaptable and changeable so that they're saying, oh, wait, that doesn't quite flow. I need to fix this or change that. And if we go back even to the one we had here, this flows too, right? Prickly porcupines protect themselves by bristling their quills when they're being chased or attacked because the sharp spikes can scare away predators. That really flows as a nice, long, rich sentence. If that feels like too much, or what we even did today in our trainings was we divided out the last quadrant into a second sentence. So we'll talk about that in future sessions, but we just wanted to even share, like, you don't have to have 4 segments to make a really robust sentence that really flips writing for students. It can be just 3 of these, right? And then that 4th quadrant, they could write out their sentence as a way to kind of have it all on one sheet of paper. But what's really nice about having choice here and having students be able to circle and try out different ones is it really develops their writer confidence and their writer's ear, where they can say, "Ooh, I really like how that sounds," or "I don't think that flows as well as I thought. I think I need to change this word." And really honoring the grappling and the grit that writing takes. This is just a really safe setup for students to try that out because it's just with one sentence. Yeah. And one thing that we kept saying to teachers over and over that is just so important to remember is that if students aren't comfortable making revisions at the sentence level, they don't know how to do this kind of rearrangement and experimentation. What makes us think they're going to do it at the paragraph or the essay level?
Well, they can't.
It just, right? Like if we break it down to this and we say, okay, yeah, my high schoolers should be writing more than a sentence. I hear you on that. Mm-hmm. But if they're writing essays and they're overwhelming and you're sitting at home for days on end and all over your precious weekends and you're scoring papers because they're so bad and you're having to revise and give them all this feedback, and then they take it and they barely look at it and like put a few things in, or maybe just copy and paste what you did, like, that's not real revision. It has to come from students. So there's actually a tremendous amount of research about how the sentence is a mini essay.
Yeah. And go back to that one side for a second. Okay. When you're looking at this and you have like the circles here, right? And we had, teachers and students reading these out loud. This is its own form of revision as you're putting these sentences together, right? Because in the different boxes, maybe we went with the ones that weren't highlighted, or we played around with it. And reading those sentences out loud it's a revision in itself because you're figuring out the best structure for your sentence.
Yeah. And I think one cool way to say that is, like, we can speak so much faster than we can write. So the more revision that you do orally, that you let students experiment and try it out just through speech, it doesn't sound the alarms in their head that they're writing. It makes them just feel like, oh, I'm just testing this out. I'm putting this bubble with this bubble. They don't feel like they're fully writing yet.
And it's not as intimidating as opening a document up and being like, oh, I have to change this.
Right. Love it. Okay. So Steve Graham, my crush.
You're not your mini crush. I saw mini. Your
He's
big
not
crush.
He's an intellectual crush.
He's your big crush.
But he pulled a lot of research together to really showcase and affirm for teachers that the sentence can be viewed as a mini essay, and everything that we want students to do at the essay level, we can condense down to the sentence level. So what we just looked at with those samples, it dealt with word choice, it dealt with organization, it dealt with flow, it dealt with comprehension, it dealt with accuracy. All the components that we want to have at the essay level, we are pulling in and making happen at the sentence level. And this is where the flipped writing happens, where you start to see students not just flap on their face with writing, but know how to tackle sentence by sentence, no matter the length that you assign them. So there's actually a lot of research on this. We just wanted to pull a few in for you. Graham's mentioned a couple times in here, but then there are other people that I should give credit to and just and really highlight that, he's not the only one. There's a lot of writers and professors and researchers that very much say, look, the sentence contains everything that we want in the whole piece, or a sentence is a complete expression, or a sentence can do everything that a paragraph can do. So we are here to take the sense of length equals strength out of
Mhm.
writing. It's just not true.
And don't be afraid to like go back to the beginning. We had a 9th grade teacher yesterday tell us, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I have this material now because I have 9th graders that can't write and this gives me a place to start. And if you have kids that are writing essays not well, then you don't have kids that are like writing. You need to
Not
go
worth
back
it.
to the beginning. Start at the sentence level. Last year in my 6th grade class, my 6th graders did not write a full essay until February because we were focusing on sentence work, paragraph work, and then we got into the essay. But their essays kicked butt because we had focused so much on building these amazing, robust sentences. And if you have a paper full of those sentences, like we just read you, like your socks are going to be knocked off.
Right. And it makes the revision process so much more enjoyable. So we have all the kind of citations here. If you are super nerdy and want to go check them all out, they're there for you. And just kind of our last little bit to share
Is strong writing is not stuffed writing. It's not packed full of stuff that doesn't matter, right? We're not looking for flowery language. We are looking for the most specific, the most important details because that is what matters. And again, I'm just going to keep repeating this 70,000 times is quality does not equal length. It really just doesn't. Because that sentence on the porcupines and the sentence on the abolitionist, not the anti-abolitionist, has so much information in those single sentences. Like you could build an entire paragraph essay off of the information in that one sentence. And so strong writing is not stuffed full of junk.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Just bring carry-ons, right? That's
Yes.
amazing. So as you trade your flip-flops for your work shoes, we just want to encourage you to really focus on short writings, especially here at the beginning of the year as we all get back into the groove of the school year. No student wants to walk in and have an essay be something that's due in the first month of school. Let's honor where our students are. Let's honor that there is an art to brevity and an importance and an urgency and need for brevity to get ideas and information across in the most succinct and efficient and impressive way. And we hope that this also just kind of alleviates the overwhelm for you and for students when you think like, oh, I've got to be writing. Yes. And let's make it at the 1 and 2 sentence level because there's such power in those.
Right. Like you just said, no one wants to write an essay their first month, but I guarantee you they'll write some sentences for you, right? Because it's a lot easier. There is no stigma attached when there's, that length piece is taken away. So we're going to start this year with some crisp and clear sentences. We're ready. We're ready for those short sentences that pack a hard punch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining in. This was an intentionally shorter one because we wanted to honor the importance of shorter writing. Yes. So we talked less today. So with that, we'll sign off and say thanks for joining us.